All right. Hi, everybody. It is wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Still have quite a few people joining the call, so let us take just a couple of minutes, please, to allow everyone to connect and get settled. Mindful of everyone's time. Let us start, please. This is hello from Cologne, Germany. I'm Sonja Guentner, Vice Chair of the World Union for Progressive Judaism and Chair of the European Union for Progressive Judaism, one of the World Union's regions. I welcome you to this call on behalf of all the World Union team, and first of all would like to express our thanks and appreciation to all donors to the World Union Ukraine Crisis Fund, both for your support and for joining us today. The crisis in Ukraine, which began more than 4 months ago, and its human ramifications within and beyond the country, may not be as front and center in the news as they were in recent months and weeks, but they are very much continuing and demanding our attention and immediate response. Our donors have so far generously contributed over $2.1 million to the Ukraine Crisis Fund, underscoring and honoring their deep commitment to progressive Jewish values, which command us to act, to help, and to repair. We remain aware of existing and newly emerging needs and strive to respond in nimble and effective fashion. Our funding and response, sometimes in partnership with other international, regional, and local organizations, is making impact across a wide range of human and community needs, as you're going to hear in detail in a moment. This is the second in our monthly series of updates to keep you apprised of the fluid situation and of how your support is making impact. A brief housekeeping announcement. We are saving time for questions and answers, so please share any questions or comments through the Q&A function, and we will capture them and answer as many as possible. It is my great pleasure now to introduce Rabbi Igor Zinkov. He's a rabbi at the Liberal Jewish Synagogue in London, and together with Carol Sterling, the chair of the World Union, he co-chairs the World Union Ukraine Crisis Fund Committee. He will now share with us an in-depth overview of his scope of work. Igor, please.
Thank you, Sonja. And first of all, let me echo what Sonja said in the beginning, the words of welcome to all who joined this call, and to express gratitude and appreciation to all who donated to the cause. And as I am, as all of the people in the committee are in direct contact with those who are doing the work and with the refugees, we know that this is really, really important. So thank you for that. I have a responsibility and privilege to co-chair this committee together with Carol Sterling, and there is a wide spectrum of humanitarian relief and programmatic support addressed by the Ukraine Crisis Fund, from secure transportation out of the country to integration programs in resettlement countries that continue to accept the growing number of refugees. And there is a growing number of refugees. About 90% of all refugees are women and children. And I think it is important to be attentive to every single individual. What makes the World Union programs unique is that we work through the network of our European communities and partner organizations that we trust. And it ensures the most efficient way of relief, and it avoids duplication of efforts. It also means that our programs are responsive to so-called under-the-radar needs, those needs who are not so clear such programs such as for special needs children in refugee families, women's empowerment programs for refugees in Israel, individual aid directed to people's bank accounts, and many other needs that may not be addressed by general refugee aid organizations. On the slides that you're about to see, you will see some of the examples of the programs or the areas of the programs that we support. For us, for our own needs, we divide all these programs in 4 sections, and we call it 4R. The first one is rescue, providing transport to safe places for people. The second R is relief, making sure that people have all basic things, money to buy food, or they receive food packages through our partner organizations, get some clothes and medicine, and have a place to sleep. The third R is resettlement. For those who decide to stay in their hosting country for mid or long term, we support programs helping them to resettle and integrate, providing legal support, childcare, and many other programs directed to help people with getting used to their new country. And the last R is our hope, because the last R is rebuilding. We hope that one day we will spend money on reopening communities, rebuilding synagogues, training leaders, and organizing programs for Ukrainian Jewish community. So this is the list of just a few examples of programs that we support. And on this call, we will focus on just one particular geographical location. One of the World Union and European Union for Progressive Judaism relief efforts is located in Barcelona. Local Jewish community serves substantial number of refugees in that region of Spain. And I would like to introduce you to Alexandra Arkhangelskaya, General Coordinator for Ukraine Relief at Beit Shalom in Barcelona, representing progressive Jewish community in Barcelona. She will tell you more about their programs and what they do to support Ukrainian refugees. Alexandra, over to you.
Thank you, Igor. Good time, everyone, because we dispersed all around the world, and it's wonderful. And I want to start by giving a lot of thanks to everyone who donated, and to World Union, and especially to Sergio and to Igor and to Sonja and Glenn, and to everyone who actually participated here. And I would like to express my gratitude to Beit Shalom in Barcelona, who actually does a lot of input to help the refugees here. And I want to start the story of how we actually began. When it's a personal story. When the war began, my very dear friend had her family in Kharkov. So it was an awful morning when we woke up, and we had to actually act. The only thing we were thinking was taking the family out, and we managed to do it in 1 week's time. And we took out not only one family, but some other people. And on the way back, we realized that we saved a few families, but our families are much more bigger. The community is our family. And we began to ask where the Jewish families are. And a lot of the government system of Spain and Catalonia did cover basic needs. So a lot of people were allocated and still allocated in hotels. So we went to some hotels and we found out there's a lot of Jewish families, and we started talking. Now we grew to the number of nearly 500 people that we're working with. as Igor said, yes, the majority are women and children, and they all need a lot of help. We encounter a lot of problems, but there's always hope, and there's a lot of voluntary work, and there's a lot of help from people as well. So the numbers we're facing now, one month ago, the government of Catalonia said that they're not going to be able to adopt more than 20,000 people. The estimate now of the refugees in Catalonia, it's 22,000 compared to 130,000 in Spain. Around 4,000 are accommodated in hotels. Out of the 22,000, our estimates is around 1,000 of those people who are here have Jewish roots, they're Jewish families. We're working, as I said, with 450 to 500 people now. And one of our goals is actually to provide help to all the Jewish families that are here, because it's very difficult circumstances. And sometimes it's very difficult even to find the family. They're shy, they're stressed, they're under a lot of psychological pressure. And with help of World Union, we're doing a lot of cultural activities, religious activities. We integrate people to the community. And we've done a number of Kabbalah Shabbat that will united the people that are dispersed all around Catalonia. And we united people together to actually feel the hugs. We did a lot of physical work as well. We hugged people, and it really helps. More volunteers probably than the people. We have a base of psychologists that work and provide the help. We have children's center, and we help children. We have a Merkaz Yiladim that we started. On Monday, I'm happy to announce that we will have a Mahane, the urban Mahane. So we're going to have children every day here. And it's really wonderful to welcome and to see the laughter. And sometimes I'm sitting in the community center and I feel how, because we have a 2-story building, so I can actually feel the vibrations of children running around. And it gives so much joy, you cannot imagine. And those are the moments that you actually understand that we are fulfilling the values and the needs. And we're actually here to help. And we have a big project. It's not only comprised of a few things. As I said, the first objective is to integrate the people into the community. The second is working with children. We have other problem. There's not only children, they're mothers, and they require jobs. They're required to do something. And the first thing to adopt and integrate people to Catalonia is to give the language courses. So we started a program of the language school, Spanish language. Children get Catalan lessons in schools, but we're teaching them Hebrew and Spanish here. The Spanish courses also go for the adults. We have a job center. We have consulting, legal consulting, medical assistance. We have a business center, because a lot of people, actually business club, a lot of people don't want to work as employees, but they have a lot of businesses. They have quite a lot of experience, so they want to start business here. So we help them. We organize consulting events, legal events, legal consulting, and it never ends. Today, we actually started, what do you call it, a juvenile club. So we have youngsters, adolescents and youngsters that actually went for hiking, and they integrate. So now they call themselves as a club. So we have a lot of initiatives and a lot of joy that actually is meeting the sorrows of the people, because it's very difficult. We have 3 categories of people. Some of them want to stay here. Some of them are ready to leave, and it's very hard. And it's for me personally, it's very difficult. And sometimes they ask for money to go back to Ukraine, and I just cannot support that, because for me it's awful. And I understand that probably we don't work enough, we don't provide enough psychological help. Women with children here, and the men are fighting, and that's our job. We should actually hug them and tell them that the family, part of their family, is here, and we do all we can to give that to them. And we have a very interesting dynamics. We see how our community actually grew, and it has so much energy because all the people in the community are willing to help. We have so many activities, we have so many volunteers, and so many people who just want to participate, and that gives us a lot of enthusiasm. And again, I want to thank all the donations, and I want to say to thank World Union for actually providing a lot of help, for coordinating, and a lot of help for this Merkaz Hiladim to exist, and a lot of people. From my part, as a coordinator, I'm speaking from 450 people. A lot of thanks to you, because we're doing what we can, and you're all welcome to come to Barcelona to receive our hugs and thanks. And I want to pass a word to Victoria, one of the refugees here, and she's going to share her own story. Victoria is a wonderful person, and she has a wonderful son, but I think she's going to tell you more, and we're just going to change, and she's going to speak for herself. And I'm always open for any questions, so if you have any questions, please type them, ask me, I'm here. And even after the Zoom, you can always contact me. I will answer all of your questions. And again, thank you very much for your time.
While they're changing seats, I just would like to remind you that all the questions should be typed in Q&A section of the Zoom. On the bottom of your screen, you will see Q&A button. If you click on it, you can type up question, and we'll make sure that your question will be answered.
Hello to everyone. I think I will not be unique if I say thank you to all of you again. And I think you will hear all these thank you hundreds and millions of times, because it's impossible to imagine how difficult situation it was, and in how hard circumstances all families were. And each day it became easier, it became a little bit light. We can at least smile now. Kids laugh, kids find friends, and they stayed in their own hotels and their rooms. They didn't contact, they had terrible stress because all of them left their country, their homes. Many of them came from cities which were destroyed, they lost everything. And here they begin to, I can say that they learn to live again. They learn to laugh again, they learn to hope again. As for me, we are here, for example, with my son. He's 6 years, and now it's just time to learn new language, new friends, and it's a really great help of Alexandra, of Beit Shalom, of Merkaz Hiladim, because here we try to find new opportunities, and we try to get help and to give help, and really we became like a very big family. And we worry about each other. And I think that if we continue like this, it may become something huge. And again, thank you, everyone. And to Julia. And I...
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for agreeing to come on this call. And we are now going to hear from Julia. Another, yes.
Can I just add a few words to the question, to the things that Victoria said? She was very shy to say, but her son is a wonderful soccer player, and he is a future Messi. So we need help for future Messi. And he's a wonderful player, and he's a very happy boy. And you saw him on one of the pictures that were on the presentation, and he has so much energy, and he's just like a son. So Victoria is the mother of the future Messi. Remember that.
Thank you. Julia, over to you.
Yes, hello to everyone. I'd like to thank all of you from all of my family. We came here with my daughter, she's 9 years old, my husband and my mother. We left everything in Ukraine and start a new life. It was pretty hard on the start, but I couldn't just sit and not doing anything. So I was looking how to make something good, not only for me or my family, to make something bigger, to help more people that came here as we are, try to make some interesting classes for kids. Before I was doing it all by myself in hotel till I met Alexandra and all of you, and that's all gives me more opportunities. And now we have this children center and can make more and more. And every day we start to do something interesting, something new, and learn many things. And kids, they can back their childhood, because all of we had till we come here and till we start to move on. It was very hard period, and without all of you, we couldn't do it by ourselves, I'm sure. So thanks all of you for your help, for your donations, for your support. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Julia. I just wanted to say that so many Jewish families in the world have a story of their ancestors, their grandparents, great-grandparents, being refugees from somewhere. And now, in a way, it is time to pay back, and this is time for us to be active participants in the history of other refugees. And if we can help, I think we should. And this is something that has been driving me personally in this work. So just wanted to say thank you to all the Barcelona community that took leadership in organizing such a tremendous effort, such an important programming for Ukrainian refugees. And just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to Victoria and Julia for sharing your personal stories. And thank you to Alexandra for being such a good leader and organizing, the world leader really, and organizing important project, important thing that helps people. And now it is time for answering your questions, for questions that came from our attendees. So, and I would like to introduce Andrew Keane, who will moderate the questions. Andrew Keane is the World Union for Progressive Judaism Management Committee member, and he will moderate Q&A.
Thanks, Igor. Thanks, everyone. I would echo my own family. The turn of the 20th century came to the United States from Ukraine, and I suspect that's true for many people on this call, and definitely connects us all in that way. Good to see so many familiar names in the participant group. If you have questions either for the panel or for specific members, please feel free to drop them in the question and answer tab at the bottom of your screen. We have some already. We'll jump right in. Alexandra, could you tell us more? You mentioned that you have plans to run a machana, a summer camp. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that might look like this summer?
Oh, yes, it's a wonderful project. And actually, Julia is one of the people who are going to help us to do that because she has a wonderful experience. And again, she's shy, but probably it's my honor to present her and to tell that she has a widest experience working with children. She was a director in several schools, and she's going to actually help quite a lot with Mahane. So we're starting a course. It's going to be 6 hours a day. Our children, the problem we have that I didn't share with you, I didn't want to share the problems because we have so many of those. But one of the biggest problems we're facing is the transportation, because a lot of the refugees are not in Barcelona. They're in the little towns or bigger towns away. And the majority, approximately, it's 2 hours by train to actually come to Barcelona. And it costs 11 euros a return ticket. So that's a big cost. So we actually solved the situation by buying a monthly ticket for children, and we can actually accommodate from 15 to 20 children. So we're going to start on Monday. They're going to come here and they're going to have fun. And their mothers are going to have some free time, and they can learn some Spanish, and they can find some time for themselves, and they can actually get the consulting services and sort out their lives. And they're going to study some songs. And we have a theater. We had a donation, a big donation. We have a box, enormous box of about 200 theater costumes. So we're going to have a wonderful theater. We're going to sing. We're going to dance. We have a professional choreographer who's volunteering to help. We're going to start a bit of lessons in Hebrew. And basically, we're going to start a lot of culture, and we're going to do a lot of artwork. And you probably see on one of the pictures that children are doing sculpture, they're doing drawings, and they're learning music. We need a lot of musical instruments, and we need a lot of stuff, but we're doing what we can. And it actually inspires me because in Spain, and in Catalonia especially, July and August are vacational, and everything is very, very tranquil. And it's very difficult to find Mahane. So I'm very proud, and I'm very, very thankful for everyone, for every person who donated their money, that we can actually do it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Going to zoom out a bit. So obviously what's happening in Barcelona is just one of a number of examples of projects and efforts that are happening across really across the world. But Igor, to you, just as the co-chair of the fund, can you just give a few more examples of ways in which the funds are being used and some of the programs and initiatives you're seeing, and maybe comment like what you see as the direction of those needs as the situation continues to unfold?
Mm-hmm. So, as Andrew said, this is what we decided to do in these calls, is to focus on something specific that people can see the real impact of, rather than to speak generally. So this is one of the examples. The Barcelona community is one of the examples. And we have I believe over 40 different projects in different countries across the Europe and globally. So we support, for example, one of the projects we have is what we call a relief fund. It basically acts as a discretionary fund that we can transfer people money directly to their bank accounts. It works if we hear from a person we trust, for example, from a rabbi. And most of the requests came from Ukrainian who are in touch with their families, and people who, for example, just had to leave their home and move to Poland or to any other country, Germany or in any other country. They sometimes left with nothing, with just one suitcase, of course. And the most dignified way of supporting is to transferring some money to their bank account so that they would go and buy what they need. So that's one of the projects. And the amount of money that has been spent just on this individual transfers, and the transfers vary from $100 to $1,000. It depends on the person's needs. You can't really have the same transfer to everybody. People do have different families. Well, it's obvious why. But it's the number of that has been transferred since the beginning of the war is close to $100,000 already. So, and it continues to grow. Only this one project, we supported projects and similar activities in Slovakia for people's accommodation, and people in there are projects in Hungary, in Poland, in Israel, in so many other countries, whenever Ukrainian refugees are, we support them, both individually but mostly through our partner organizations. And this is where the partnership with the European Union and with all the communities that we have on the ground is crucial to this, because we do have a unique network that we can work through. I think you also asked about the general direction where the need is going. So what is the change? And so one of the changes that may sound surprising to people, but it is not surprising if you start thinking and putting yourself in the shoes of refugees. Some people would like to go back. And this is, however dangerous it sounds, when you find yourself in a position of a refugee and you thought that, oh, it may last for months and I can just spend a month somewhere, but then it didn't stop. And some people are just tired, and most of them are women and children, so they had to leave their fathers and sometimes sons behind, and some people would like to come back. And if people are coming back, they also need some support. So we do have a few organizations we partner with in Ukraine who we try to help and support, organizing food packaging, organizing whatever we can. There's a limit of what you can do during the war, in the war zone, but you can do something in the regions there's no war. So I hope I answered some of the questions, but Barcelona is just one example. So in the next call, we will focus on another example of another project. So that's the idea of these calls.
Thank you. That's super helpful. Continuing on kind of the same train of thought, Sonja, I'd love if you could comment on just what you're hearing and seeing from our Reform, progressive, liberal communities across Europe, and how they're responding, not necessarily as it relates to the World Union Crisis Fund, but more generally about what their role is, what they're seeing, and maybe even what EUPJ is doing to provide support to them.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, as Igor has already pointed out, we are working through the network of congregations we have in 16 countries across Europe. And we are seeing that all of them have responded with the greatest willingness to help in every way they can. naturally, because their own situation within their context, their national context, regional context is so different, the way they respond looks different, and the way they need help to be able to provide help themselves looks very different in various countries. So that is something which the Ukraine Crisis Fund and the committee evaluates with every program that is being suggested. And I'm really very grateful for the opportunity to be able to react in such a fine-tuned way to the various needs that our congregations have. At the moment, what we are seeing is that many congregations are faced with the question of mid or long-term help for refugees. As Alexandra has already also said, the question is really increasingly important to make strategic decisions about the development of congregations, and it is wonderful as a movement to be able to support congregations. Again, the concrete way that that works out is very much dependent on the context of the congregations and mostly the legal situation in various countries.
Thank you. This is a question that has come in a few different ways in the Q&A, and happy to pass it either to Alexandra or Yulia to talk specifically about Barcelona, or Igor, Sonja more generally, and that is, are we supporting only Jewish refugees? Are we supporting refugees regardless of how they identify, and what does that look like practically, both in the programs that are being offered as well as the funding that the World Union is providing? I'm not sure if anyone wants to start off that question. Igor?
Yes, we work through the network of Jewish congregations, but we support everybody. We don't limit our support for Jews only. And I think that's an important principle that we established from the very beginning. First of all, practically, how can you imagine that? How can you imagine that, oh, only Jews can enter the bus out of Ukraine? So that's just not possible. And the second is just wrong. It's just against our values as progressive Jews. We should be open, and we should be open to universal ideas of Judaism. And this is our practical implication of what we as progressive Jews believe in. So we support both Jews and non-Jews.
Thank you. Anyone else want to weigh in on that? If not, I think that actually sets a very nice tone for all of our work generally. Alexandra, please.
Yes, I would say that how can you say no when a person is asking you for help? I think it's just beyond the human nature, values, and others. So I'm surprised to even receive this question, but I'm grateful because it's one thing that I didn't say, and I will use this opportunity to actually say that the war is not over. And we still receive quite a number of people who are coming. And although the government and the Red Cross, the NGO that operates here, restricted the number to 22,000, I usually get at least 1 or 2 calls from families that are coming. And they're not coming only from Ukraine, they're coming from Russia as well. And people need help. And they ask for help. So I'm doing what I can to help everyone I can. But of course, we have a community now became a point of attraction. Really, sometimes people say that, oh, you know, in Beit Shalom they help. So people come and we help. What we can do, we always do. And just, I know there's. It's not in the media as much as it was in the beginning of March, but the war is not over, and we have to do all we can to actually not forget about that and to help the families who need the help, psychological, legal necessities, children, mothers, jobs, languages, and it's all over Europe. I can only speak for Barcelona, but even in the dimensions of Spain, we help people. There are families that call me and tell me, I'm in Madrid, can you help us? So we talk to our communities. in Madrid, and we try to help as well. Or Valencia. I received a call from Valencia today, and there's a family, a mother with a child and an adopted baby, so they need help. I'm not going to say no. I cannot even imagine the criteria in which I would say no. Of course, we help, and the help doesn't have any colors, any gender, any geographical point. And I think that's why we're all here today. And again, thank you.
Thank you. Alexandra, actually, or Yulia, right back to you. For the Jewish families that you are serving and you're working with, how are you integrating them into kind of communal congregational life, and how are you accommodating for different levels of Jewish knowledge and ritual knowledge and things like that?
I'll start. I'm sorry, but that inspires me so much. As I said, I can talk for hours about this. We organize a lot of, first, it's the children, and the children receive classes of basic Judaism. They receive the classes of traditions and cultures, and they can continue what they were doing in Ukraine. Some of the people, is the first time they can actually declare and acknowledge their Jewish roots. And we're very happy to be the first community to actually help them. And it takes a lot of courage due to the historical background. And so we do some lessons for children. As I told you, we started this youth club, and they started it themselves. It's self-organization. So they want to be together. And they came to me here and they told, okay, you have a center for children, but we're not children. We're already youngsters. We grown up. But they're in this, the middle stage, and they're suffering quite a lot. This group is really, really vulnerable because children adapt. They have the psychological flexibility to adapt to the circumstances. Mothers are faced with a lot of challenges, and they gather together the psychological state of fighting. But this group is lost. But they see that the atmosphere here is good. So they came to me, can you do something for us? Can you help us? So I told them, yes, how can I help you? So we organize some events, and we're going to obviously develop that club as well, a youth club. For the adults as well, the people can participate in Kabbalat Shabbat. They can participate in all the festivities. We had a wonderful Shavuot. And we actually thinking of translating the classes of Judaism to the adults, because it's very interesting. People are very interested. Some people know a lot, some people don't. So we have meetings when we all sit together and we start talking. And that's one of the things we're thinking about starting in September, because there's a lot of pressure with accommodation now, a lot of pressure with finding jobs and other stuff, but there is a question about that. So we're going to start from September classes to children, extra curriculum, because they're all going to go back to school, and for adults as well. And we're going to invent something very, very interesting for this youth group, definitely. And Julia, if you could add something up, I would be very happy. Thank you.
I can just add that kids learn through the game. So when we get all together, we have some fun. We start draw something, make some things by our hands, singing, dancing, have fun and learn through this. It's more easy for kids. They do all things like this. It's enjoy, and that's learning.
Thank you. I think we've answered all the questions that have come in, and I appreciate all the stories you're able to share. In response to those questions, I'm just looking at the names of who's actually joining us. I believe we have every region of the World Union represented on the call. So these questions are coming from truly all over the world, and I hope you see it as a show of strength from the global progressive Jewish family as to the work that you're doing. And thank you. I'll pass it back to Igor.
Right. Actually, we pass back to Sonja. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you, Andrew, for moderating the Q&A, and thank you to everyone who has contributed to making this event happen. Thank you again to all our donors, and most especially a huge thank you to our panelists. Thank you for joining us, for sharing your very personal stories with us, thanking you for allowing us this insight into your lives, and thank you very, very much for everything you do. It is our hope that you will all be able to draw strength and inspiration from being part of a global network of progressive Jewish communities, which is able to mobilize and respond to crises in the way the World Union Youth Crisis Fund is able to do that. To all our participants, please look out for the announcement of our next update event in July, which we will circulate and share on social media and our website. And of course, our website is always a good place to find more information, and of course also to make donations. Thank you very much, and depending on where you are in the world, good day or good night.